Chapter 16. And Korah, son of Yitzhar, son of Kehath, son of Levi, took both Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, son of Peleth, sons of Reuben. And they rose up before Moshe with some of the children of Israel, 250 leaders of the congregation, called ones of the meeting men of name. And they assembled against Moshe and against Aharon, and said to them, Enough of you, for all the congregation is set apart, all of them, and Yahuwah is in their midst. Why then do you lift up yourselves above the assembly of Yahuwah? And when Moshe heard, he fell on his face, and spoke to Korah and all his company, saying, Tomorrow morning Yahuwah shall make known who is his and who is set apart, and bring him near to him, and let him bring near to him the one whom he chooses. Do this, take fire holders, Korah and all your company, and put fire in them, and put incense in them before Yahuwah tomorrow. And it shall be that the one whom Yahuwah chooses is the set-apart one. Enough of you, sons of Levi. And Moshe said to Korah, Hear now, you sons of Levi. Is it little to you that the Elohim of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself, to perform the service of the dwelling place of Yahuwah, and to stand before the congregation to serve them? And that he has brought you near to himself, you and all your brothers, the sons of Levi, with you? Yet you seek the priesthood as well? Therefore you and all your company are set against Yahuwah. And Aharon, what is he that you grumble against him? And Moshe sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, but they said, We are not coming up. Is it little that you have brought us up out of the land of flowing with milk and honey, to kill us in this wilderness, that you would also seize total rule over us? Also, you have not brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Would you bore out the eyes of these men? We are not coming up. And Moshe became very displeased, and said to Yahuwah, Do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I done harm to any of them. Then Moshe said to Korah, Tomorrow you and all your company shall be there before Yahuwah, you and they and Aharon. And take each one his fire holder, and you shall put incense in it. And let each one bring his fire holder before Yahuwah, 250 fire holders, and you and Aharon each one with his fire holder. So each one took his fire holder, and put fire in it, and laid incense on it, and stood at the door of the tent of appointment with Moshe and Aharon. And Korah assembled all the congregation against them at the door of the tent of appointment. Then the esteem of Yahuwah appeared to all the congregation. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying, Separate yourselves from the midst of this congregation, and let me consume them in a moment. But they fell on their faces, and said, O Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, when one man sins, you are wroth with all the congregation? And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the congregation, saying, Move away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. So Moshe rose up and went to Dathan, and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, Please turn away from the tents of these wrong men. Do not touch whatever belongs to them, lest you be consumed in all their sins. Then they moved away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of their tents, with their wives and their sons and their little children. And Moshe said, By this you know that Yahuwah has sent me to do all these works, that they are not from my own heart. If these die as all men do, or if they are visited as all men are visited, then Yahuwah has not sent me. But if Yahuwah creates what is unheard of, and the earth opens its mouth, and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into Sheol, then you shall know that these men have scorned Yahuwah. And it came to be, as he ended speaking all these words, that the ground underneath them split apart, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, with their households and all the men with Korah and all their goods. So they and all those with them went down alive into Sheol, and the earth closed over them, and they perished from the midst of the assembly. And all Israel who were round about them fled at their cry, for they said, Lest the earth swallow us up. And a fire came out from Yahuwah, and consumed the 250 men who were offering incense. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Say to Eleazar, son of Aharon the priest, to pick up the fire holders out of the blaze, for they are set apart, and scatter the fire some distance away. The fire holders of these men who sinned against their own lives, let them be made into beaten plates as a covering for the slaughter place. Because they brought them before Yahuwah, therefore they are set apart, and let them become a sign to the children of Israel. And Eleazar the priest took the bronze fire holders, which those who were burned up had brought, and they were beaten out as a covering for the slaughter place. a remembrance to the children of Israel, that no stranger who is not of the seed of Aharon should come near to offer incense before Yahuwah, and not be like Korah and his company, as Yahuwah had said to him through Moshe. But all the congregation of the children of Israel grumbled against Moshe and against Aharon on the next day, saying, "You have killed the people of Yahuwah." And it came to be, when the congregation assembled against Moshe and against Aharon, that they turned toward the tent of appointment. And see, the cloud covering it, and the esteem of Yahuwah appeared. And Moshe and Aharon came before the tent of appointment. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, "Arise from amidst this congregation, and let me consume them in a moment." And they fell on their faces. So Moshe said to Aharon, "Take the fire holder and put fire in it from the slaughter place, and lay incense on it, and go, hurry to the congregation and make atonement for them, for wrath has gone out from Yahuwah, the plague has begun." And Aharon took it as Moshe commanded, and ran into the midst of the assembly, and saw that the plague had begun among the people. And he laid on the incense, and made atonement for the people, and stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stopped. And those who died in the plague were 14,700, besides those who died on account of Korah. Then Aharon returned to Moshe at the door of a tent of appointment, for the plague had stopped. Chapter 17. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel, and take from them a rod from each father's house, all their leaders according to their father's houses, 12 rods. Write each one's name on his rod. And write Aharon's name on the rod of Levi, for there is one rod for the head of each father's house. You shall then place them in the tent of appointment before the witness, where I meet with you. And it shall be that the rod of the man whom I choose buds, and I shall rid myself of the grumblings of the children of Israel, which they grumble against you." And Moshe spoke to the children of Israel, and all their leaders gave him a rod each, for each leader according to their father's houses, 12 rods. And the rod of Aharon was among their rods. So Moshe placed the rods before Yahuwah in the tent of the witness. And it came to be on the next day that Moshe went into the tent of the witness, and saw that the rod of Aharon of the house of Levi had budded, and brought forth buds, and blossomed and bore ripe almonds. And Moshe brought out all the rods from before Yahuwah to all the children of Israel. And they looked, and each man took his rod. Then Yahuwah said to Moshe, "Bring Aharon's rod back before the witness to be kept as a sign against the rebels, so that you put an end to their grumblings against me, lest they die." And Moshe did as Yahuwah had commanded, so he did. And the children of Israel spoke to Moshe, saying, "See, we shall die, we shall perish, we shall all perish. Anyone who comes near the dwelling place of Yahuwah dies. Shall we be consumed to die?" Chapter 18. And Yahuwah said to Aharon, "You and your sons and your father's house with you are to bear the crookedness against the set-apart place, and you and your sons with you are to bear the crookedness against your priesthood. But bring with you your brothers of the tribe of Levi too, the tribe of your father, to join you and serve you while you and your sons are with you before the tent of the witness. And they shall guard your charge and the duty of all the tent, but they do not come near the furnishings of the set-apart place and the slaughter place, lest they die, both they and you. And they shall be joined with you and guard the duty of the tent of appointment, for all the service of the tent, but a stranger does not come near you. And you shall guard the duty of the set-apart place and the duty of the slaughter place, so that there be no more wrath on the children of Israel. And see, I myself have taken your brothers the Levites from the midst of the children of Israel, a gift to you, given by Yahuwah, to do the service of a tent of appointment. But you and your sons with you are to guard your priesthood for all matters at the slaughter place and behind the veil, and you shall serve. I have given you the priesthood as a gift for service, but the stranger who comes near is put to death." And Yahuwah spoke to Aharon, "And see, I myself have also given you the charge of my contributions, all the set-apart gifts of the children of Israel. I have given them to you for the anointing, and to your sons as a law forever. This is yours of the most set-apart gifts, from the fire, all their offerings, all their grain offerings, and all their sin offerings, and all their guilt offerings which they render to me, are most set apart for you and your sons. Eat it in the most set-apart place. Every male eats it. It is set apart to you. This also is yours, the contribution of their gifts. With all the wave offerings of the children of Israel, I have given them to you and your sons and daughters with you as a law forever. Everyone who is clean in your house eats it. All the best of the oil and all the best of the new wine and the grain, their first fruits which they give to Yahuwah, I have given them to you. The first fruits of all that is in their land which they bring to Yahuwah are yours. Everyone who is clean in your house eats it. All that is dedicated in Israel is yours. Everyone opening the womb of all flesh, which they bring to Yahuwah, whether man or beast, is yours. But to ransom, you shall ransom the firstborn of man, and the firstborn of the unclean beast you ransom. And ransom the ransomed ones when 1 new moon old, according to your valuation, 5 shekels of silver according to the shekel of the set apart place, which is 20 gerahs. For the firstborn of a cow, or the firstborn of a sheep, or the firstborn of a goat, you do not ransom; they are set apart. Sprinkle their blood on the slaughter place, and burn their fat as an offering made by fire for a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. And their flesh is yours, as the wave breast and the right thigh, it is yours. All the contributions of the set-apart gifts which the children of Israel present to Yahuwah, I have given to you and your sons and daughters, with you, as a law forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before Yahuwah, with you and your seed with you. And Yahuwah said to Aharon, you are not to have an inheritance in their land, nor have any portion in their midst. I am your portion and your inheritance among the children of Israel. And see, I have given the children of Levi all the tithes in Israel as an inheritance in return for the service which they are serving, the service of the tent of appointment. And let the children of Israel no more come near the tent of appointment, lest they bear sin and die. Because the Levites shall do the service of the tent of appointment, so they themselves bear their crookedness. A law forever throughout your generations, that among the children of Israel they are to have no inheritance. But the tithes of the children of Israel, which they present as a contribution to Yahuwah, I have given to the Levites as an inheritance. That is why I have said to them, among the children of Israel they have no inheritance. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the Levites and say to them, when you take from the children of Israel the tithes which I have given you from them as your inheritance, then you shall present a contribution of it to Yahuwah, a tenth of the tithe. And your contribution shall be reckoned to you as grain from the threshing floor, and as filling from the winepress. Thus you also present a contribution unto Yahuwah from all your tithes which you receive from the children of Israel. And you shall give from it the contribution to Yahuwah, to Aharon the priest. From all your gifts you present every contribution due to Yahuwah, from all the best of them, and set apart part of them. And you shall say to them, when you have presented the best of it, then the rest shall be reckoned to the Levites as the yields of the threshing floor and as the yield of the winepress. And you shall eat it in any place, and you and your households, for it is your reward for your service in the tent of appointment. And bear no sin because of it, when you have presented the best of it, and do not profane the set-apart gifts of the children of Israel, lest you die. Chapter 19. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying, this is the law of the Torah which Yahuwah has commanded, saying, speak to the children of Israel, that they bring you a red heifer, a perfect one, in which there is no blemish, and on which a yoke has never come. And you shall give it to Eleazar the priest, and he shall bring it outside the camp, and shall slay it before him. And Eleazar the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger, and sprinkle some of its blood 7 times toward the front of the tent of appointment. And the heifer shall be burned before his eyes. He burns its hide, and its flesh, and its blood, and its dung. And the priest shall take cedar wood, and hyssop, and scarlet, and throw them into the midst of the fire, burning the heifer. The priest shall then wash his garments, and shall bathe his body in water, and afterward come into the camp. But the priest is unclean until evening. And he who is burning it washes his garments in water, and shall bathe his body in water, and is unclean until evening. And a clean man shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and shall place them outside the camp in a clean place. And they shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for the water, for uncleanness. For the water for uncleanness, it is for cleansing from sin. And he who gathers the ashes for the heifer shall wash his garments, and is unclean until evening. And it shall be a law forever to the children of Israel, and to the stranger who sojourns in their midst. He who touches the dead of any human being is unclean for 7 days. He is to cleanse himself with the water on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he is clean. But if he does not cleanse himself on the 3rd day, then on the 7th day he is not clean. Anyone who touches the dead of a human being and does not cleanse himself defiles the dwelling place of Yahuwah, and that being shall be cut off from Israel. He is unclean, for the water for uncleanness was not sprinkled on him. His uncleanness is still upon him. This is the Torah when a man dies in a tent. All who come into the tent and all who are in the tent are unclean 7 days. and every open vessel which has no cover fastened on it is unclean. Anyone in an open field who touches someone slain by a sword, or has died, or a bone of a man, or a burial site, is unclean for 7 days. And for the unclean being they shall take some of the ashes for the heifer burnt for cleansing from sin, and running water shall be put on them in a vessel. And a clean man shall take hyssop and dip it in the water, and shall sprinkle it on the tent, and on all the vessels, and on the beings who are there, or on the one who touched a bone, or the slain, or the dead, or a burial site. And the clean one shall sprinkle the unclean on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. And on the 7th day he shall cleanse himself, and shall wash his garments, and bathe in water, and shall be clean in the evening. But the man who is unclean and does not cleanse himself, that being shall be cut off from among the assembly, because he has defiled the set-apart place of Yahuwah. Water for uncleanness has not been sprinkled on him, he is unclean. And it shall be a law for them forever. And the one who sprinkles the water for uncleanness washes his garments, and the one who touches the water for uncleanness is unclean until evening. And whatever the unclean being touches is unclean, and the being who touches it is unclean until evening. Chapter 20. And the children of Israel, all the congregation, came into the wilderness of Sin in the first new moon, and the people stayed in Kadesh. And Miriam died there and was buried there. Now there was no water for the congregation, and they assembled against Moshe and against Aharon. And the people contended with Moshe and spoke, saying, If only we had died when our brothers died before Yahuwah. Why have you brought up the assembly of Yahuwah into this wilderness, that we and our livestock should die here? And why have you brought us up out of Mitzrayim to bring us to this evil place? Not a place of grain, or figs, or vines, or pomegranates, and there is no water to drink. Then Moshe and Aharon went from the presence of the assembly to the door of the tent of appointment, and they fell on their faces. And the esteem of Yahuwah appeared to them. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Take the rod and assemble the congregation, you and your brother Aharon, and you shall speak to the rock before their eyes, and it shall give its water. You shall bring water to them out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and their livestock. And Moshe took the rod from before Yahuwah as he commanded him. And Moshe and Aharon assembled the assembly before the rock, and he said to them, Hear now, you rebels, shall we bring water for you out of this rock? Then Moshe lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod, and much water came out, and the congregation and the livestock drank. But Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, Because you did not believe me to set me apart in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you do not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them. These were the waters of Meribah, because the children of Israel contended with Yahuwah, and he was set apart among them. And Moshe sent messengers from Kadesh to the sovereign of Edom. This is what your brother Israel said. You know all the hardship that has befallen us, that our fathers went down to Mitzrayim, and we dwelt in Mitzrayim a long time, and the Mitzrites did evil to us and our fathers. And we cried out to Yahuwah, and he heard our voice, and sent the messenger, and brought us up out of Mitzrayim. And see, we are in Kadesh, a city on the edge of your border. Please let us pass over through your land. We shall not pass over through fields or vineyards, nor drink water from wells. We shall go along the sovereign's highway. We shall not turn aside right or left, until we have passed over your border. But Edom said to him, You do not pass over through me, lest I come out against you with the sword. And the children of Israel said to him, We shall go by the highway, and if I or my livestock drink any of your water, then I shall pay for it. Let me only pass over on foot without a word. But he said, You do not pass over. And Edom came out against them with many men and a strong hand. So when Edom refused to let Israel pass over through his border, Israel turned away from him. And the children of Israel and all the company departed from Kadesh and came to Mount Hor. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and to Aharon in Mount Hor, near the border of the land of Edom, saying, Aharon is to be gathered to his people, for he is not to enter the land which I have given to the children of Israel, because you rebelled against my mouth at the water of Meribah. Take Aharon and Eleazar his son, and bring them up to Mount Hor, and strip Aharon of his garments, and put them on Eleazar his son, for Aharon is to be gathered to his people, and die there. And Moshe did as Yahuwah commanded, and they went up to Mount Hor before the eyes of all the congregation. And Moshe stripped Aharon of his garments, and put them on Eleazar his son, and Aharon died there on top of the mountain. And Moshe and Eleazar came down from the mountain, and all the congregation saw that Aharon was dead, and all the house of Israel wept for Aharon 30 days.